Hello, folks. Welcome to my channel. What's up with Chad Y. Royer? What the question of the day? Is it the cancer? Is it the cancer treatments or treatments rather? Or is it my age? I'm going to explain what I'm talking about when I raise this question. And for those who have not been following me, or maybe you have and you haven't done so, feel free to subscribe to my channel so that you get more information on when my videos come up. Feel free to like and leave comments, even if it's an emoji. I have to bring this up because it has been on my mind for some time. I'm actually going through some documents while I'm talking to you. Is it the age? Is it the cancer diagnosis? Does it have anything to do with the cancer treatments? What is the main reason for the way that I feel symptomatically? Meaning my levels of fatigue, the pain and discomfort in my back, my tiredness, my lack of energy on occasion, uh, the shortness of breath if I happen to have any, and any other series of symptoms that I have documented throughout my journey. So let's go over some things. I turned 50 recently this month. And turning 50, you hear from other people, the metabolism gets slower, it's harder to maintain weight. At times you get sluggish. There are more medical procedures that you have to undertake based on your age, more screenings. The bone structure starts to change a little bit. And those things have its own role in the aging process. And I can tell you from the past few years, I have felt the sluggishness, the fatigue, the tiredness, the burnout. And even now, I'm going through it. But I find that it is a little more pronounced. But what happened with me in this case, I had a cancer diagnosis to attribute to that. Even from the time that I did not know I had cancer, which I will venture to say was perhaps 2 years prior. And then, I just got to think, I'm getting up in age. I may not look it, but I am. But I'm pretty sure age has something to do with it. But then again, I'm not so sure. So here's the other part. I have the cancer itself. Multiple myeloma is a cancer that I was diagnosed with in late 2024. That is a cancer that affects the blood composition where your cells, your malignant cells, grow abnormally and they eat away into the bone. In many cases, the ribs, the back, and the femur. So, what was happening to me, and I can trace back approximately 2 years ago, was I was feeling that sluggishness. The energy wasn't there. I was getting fatigued. And mind you, I was doing a lot while on my feet. All the meetings and presentations that I was doing, handling the kids, the food shopping, the travel, and the things that I try to do when I've had discomfort and the sciatica symptoms. That's important because even with the sciatica symptoms, I was still trying to get around and do things. And if the sciatica wasn't flaring up, then I did what I could. But then I felt the fatigue. I felt the tiredness. I felt the energy zapping. And rest actually helped. Even up to now, rest actually helps me. I get to rejuvenate, I get to come back a little stronger. But I just wonder if the cancer itself expedited those symptoms. Just imagine that I did not know that I had the cancer diagnosis, or I have the cancer diagnosis and I don't go forth with the treatments. Now, I'll get into the treatments in a second, but let's just fast forward up to the time where I had the diagnosis, which was late 2024. I was bedridden, couldn't walk, couldn't stand. And even before it got to that point, I felt that my energy levels was compromised. There were things that I wanted to do and I had to back down from it. Some things are telling me that the cancer that I did not know I had may have had a role on top of me approaching age, because I was pretty active at a point. I've scaled down a little bit, but I'm still up and about. Now, here's the other argument. The other argument is I've had the diagnosis, I've had the treatments, the surgery, the injections, the pills, the drinks, the mixtures, the stem cell transplants, the bone marrow biopsy, the PET scans, the MRIs, the insertion of dye in my system, all those things. I will pinpoint one particular case. As I am learning to walk again, get my strength back, the stem cell transplant became a reality. So what happened here are three material things, if I venture to say three. One, the stem cell transplants, where the stem cells are inserted or extracted rather, and frozen so that after the liquid chemotherapy dose is injected into my system, that process kills the remaining cancer cells, and then the stem cells are inserted back. And then there's an isolation period that is mandatory for me in order to remain in good health. Because at this point, my white blood cell count, it was dipping down at its lowest point before it builds itself up. That's where I'm most immunocompromised. And I had to quarantine for 100 days. A little more, a little less. So my body went through a lot. There was a lot of damage. I lost my hair. I felt like I didn't have the energy to eat. I didn't have the energy to walk long distance. I didn't have the energy to iron. I didn't have the energy to wash dishes. I didn't have the energy to even do stretching. Sleeping, waking up at night to do stuff at the desk, those were activities that was comfortable for me because I didn't have to exert as much energy. But anything where I had to carry forth a task, where my whole body had to move, that became something that was overbearing for me. And I recall specifically some days, because this is in the summertime. Summertime is where I'm most active. I would want to do something, I would plan to do something, and then I would change my mind and not do it because of how I felt. The energy wasn't there. I felt weak at times, even though I was able to do things functionally, but it just couldn't happen. So the arguments that the treatments collectively could be the result of my symptoms or the frequency of the symptoms as they came along. But the big one was the stem cell transplant. That was the big one. That in my opinion, it chemically changed my composition. At least that's my thought. Because you see, when the chemo in that form was done, not only does it kill the bad cells, but it kills a lot of the good ones. So that's where the rest and the recuperation was important. And what I learned just from having conversations with the doctors, the team, other resources, that even though after the 100 days, I was able to do things and my immunity was normal or what you would consider normal, I was not at 100%. I wasn't near 100%. In fact, April would have been, mid-April rather, would be a year from the time that I had the stem cell transplant. So around that time, which is coming, I would be as close to 100% than I'll ever been regarding my overall immunity status. And that I did not really know. That wasn't really articulated to me until later. So if I'm to ask myself this question, is it my age? Is it the cancer? Or is it the treatments or the collection of treatments that are the main root of my symptoms? I think it's a combination of the three. But if I had to break it down, I couldn't really tell you which of the three would have been the most impactful. But I would venture to say maybe it was the cancer treatments. Because, you know, the body does its best to resist change. So when you take meds or exercise or something, the body naturally resists change until it adapts to the change. So maybe I'm leaning a little bit toward the cancer treatments. But the trade-off would have been this. I would still have my hair. I would still be getting the injections. And the cancer count would be a bit higher, and I may not have the absence of the cancer cells in my system. But here we are right now, and it just so happens to be Myeloma Awareness Month or Myeloma Action Month. And the hashtag that I ask everyone to share is more than myeloma. I'll repeat that. More than myeloma. I end this discussion with you, and I thank you for joining. Please don't forget, if you haven't done so, please share my channel, subscribe to my channel, leave a comment or two, press the like button. You be safe. You be well.